Understand the expression Siv kol almi memali kol almi. The term kol is a very broad assumption, very presumptuous. It's called. Say a lot. We always give them the following motion to understand this principle of call. You have someone who is immensely wealthy. And what are you looking for? Sugar? No, it's coming. Forgot.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you. He can have, in a matter of speech, he can have everything that he wants. But the word everything you have to say, so to speak, with a qualifier. The qualifier is everything that he wants, because his want, by definition, would have a limit, and therefore he can have everything he wants. But he doesn't have everything. We compare an extremely wealthy person to a king. A king is not wealthy at all. The Torah says the halacha is that a king is not allowed to secure extra wealth. Kesef v'zohav l'yar b'lei miyeh. That's he said in the Torah. That he must not increase his treasures beyond what he needs for the operation of government.
I'm not hearing half of what's going on over there. Sorry.
What's the matter? Who was that?
David.
That was David.
Are you back? Can you hear us now?
That may be a little better, yeah.
What?
Yeah, but you also have to put your phone on mute, otherwise the rest of us can't hear anything.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so you can hear fine. What is the difference between a king and a wealthy man? An extremely wealthy man. A king, as the Torah says, halachically, is not even allowed to hoard a lot of wealth. A wealthy man has got a huge amount of possessions. Yet, by a wealthy man, you cannot say all. You could say a lot. You could say that one human being cannot possibly consume all this wealth in a lifetime. You know, this kind of, you understand the principle. Because in essence, there is a limit to it. And the limit is when you accumulate, all accumulated wealth, possessions, have a limit. Everything is accumulated one by one can never be infinite. It will always be finite.
I'm sorry, it's just a little. This, it sounds like you focused before on him, that he can't want unlimited things, because just there's always going to be a limit to what he wants.
No, you miss it.
Okay, I guess.
No. I said that he can have everything that he wants. So it seems like everything. So I said that this everything is qualified right there. It's everything that he wants. And the reason everything that he can have everything that he wants is because his want is to begin with limited.
Right. So
this is why he can have everything. But to say that he has everything is not possible.
I just hear two things. I hear that limit comes from him, because there is a limit to what he wants.
No, you misunderstand. The amount that he accumulates is limited. Even though we describe it as something that is not limited, he can have everything. Everything means not limited.
Okay.
So we explained that this term, everything itself, is in itself qualified.
Because comprised of limited amount of things.
No. That's interesting. Everything that he wants is everything. So he can have everything that he wants.
What is the context of this discussion of the king and the wealthy man? I'm sorry to interrupt.
The context of the discussion is to explain the term Seva Kolamin and Mamale Kolam. And the Rebbe says a phenomenal statement, phenomenal thing that he's teaching us. That before the Tzimtzum, there are two madrigas. Before the Tzimtzum, there are two madrigas. There are two aspects. We discussed already the principle of Ayin Tzimtzum. This is the essence of Ayin Yisrael. This is not Ayin Yisrael that was Nimsha, that came to be. This is Ayin Yisrael, as it says in Etz Chaim. It fills everything. It is everywhere. It is everything. Within this Ayin Tzimtzum, there are two madrigas. There's a madrega where Shia v'atzim b'koyach she'osi liv b'koyach. In other words, he already projected the creation, and he defined within this Ayin Yisrael everything that will come from it. And then there is also the Ayin Yisrael that is before this projection of creation. Nothing to do, it's completely above the whole thing. Not even a projection of the creation. These are the two madrigas. These two madrigas, the Rebbe says, is the shoyresh and the root and the mokoir of the two principles of Seva Kol Almin that come and Malak Olam. This is where Seva Kol Almin and Malak Olam are rooted in. In the Oyer Tzimtzum Tzimtzum, this is where these two elements are contained. This is where they come from. Okay? This is what the Rebbe says. So I was trying to explain the significance of these words. It's very easy to say one madriga, another madriga, a high madriga, a low madriga, Seva Kol Almin, Malak Olam. I'm explaining what is the Rebbe saying. I mean, that Malekol Amin is rooted in Oilus Option Lifnei HaTzimtzum. Oilus Option Lifnei HaTzimtzum is before the Tzimtzum completely. This is the essence of the Nissan. This is already after the Tzimtzum, and it's Nimshech in the Kav. So I'm explaining that in this expression, Soiver Kol Almin and Memale Kol Almin, there is a nuanced impression, a nuanced inference. Inference. You understand the inference?
Inference is example?
No, inferring something is being said in a very subtle way, but you don't catch it, and you have to really think into it. That's what inference.
Mm.
And what is the inference? The inference is in the word kol. Sever v'malei, a house is also sever. But sever kolam and v'malei kolam, that has a different inference. That really represents, that really alludes to an union from oil and social Lifnei. How so? Why do we say that? So I'm explaining the meaning of the word kol. Kol contrasts the word kol, which means everything, all, to the word roiv, a lot. So to understand the difference between a lot and all, I use the analogy, the comparison between a king and a wealthy man. The wealthy man has an enormous amount of wealth. And therefore it is correct to say that he has enough wealth to satisfy all of his desires. So he's got also the principle of all. So we're saying that this expression, to satisfy all of his desires, has an inherent means an internal self-limiting qualifier. Because a wealthy man doesn't have everything. He has a lot. But everything no one has. Only a king has everything.
Only what has everything?
A king.
A king.
What is the possession of a king? A king does not have any possessions. As I said, a king is not even allowed to accumulate a lot of wealth. He has to have enough wealth on hand, that which he will need to pay for his army, for his servants, and then when he needs more, he can get more. But at one time, to accumulate and treasure more than what he needs for immediate consumption, he's not allowed to. That's a din. So he has a very limited amount. Right? And yet, by a king we say he has all, and by the wealthy man we say no, he has a lot, not all. Even though with wealthy man you say also then he can satisfy all of his needs. So he's also say all. So we immediately explain that when you say all by the wealthy man, we say right away qualified all of his needs. And his needs by definition are always limited. You follow this one?
I suppose I understand what you're talking about a king, but I don't understand. I hear from what you're saying that he puts limitations, a qualifier on this all that he has.
No.
So I don't get it. Like, sorry, I don't hear it.
No. Okay. Good exercise. Sometimes we talk and we're talking cross purposes. Like two different languages. Is it correct to say that a wealthy man has all of his needs?
Sure.
Is that infer an unlimited amount or a limited amount?
Limited.
But you say all of his needs, how is it limited?
He's a limited being.
So when you say by a person he has all of his needs, we're talking about something limited. Because his needs are limited.
Yeah.
So the word all there is referring to something
Limited.
limited. And that's exactly what I'm saying.
Isn't it what I'm saying?
No, you're saying that the limit on the person, the limit on his wealth is imposed by him.
And that's not what you just said?
No.
Oh God. Okay, fine. I don't want to put. If people understand that, I don't want to. I'll think
The
about
limit,
it.
the wealth is his wealth. And his wealth is not limited by what he needs. It could be.
Yeah. It could be more than he needs.
So it's not. He's not imposing a limit on his wealth.
But we're saying that there is an internal qualifier
To what?
to what he has.
No. No, that's not the term all his needs has an internal qualifier. It doesn't. There's no internal qualifier to what he has.
Right. Sorry.
All right,
there's
no one. Okay, so we understand, right? A person, he can have enormous amount, and he can even express it as if he has all, but he doesn't have all. He has all from a qualified, from a limited perspective. Let's put it very, very direct. Okay, a human being lives X number of years. No matter if he has arichas yom, there is a certain limit. The halacha says an interesting halacha. Kohol lo imes. You know what kohol lo imes means? A kohol, a congregation doesn't die. An individual dies. A kohol doesn't die. A king who is the king over a kohol, and he has everything that the kohol needs. There we're making a statement of limitless supply. Although the king is really supporting the whole nation. I mean, his presence and his wealth and his power supports the whole nation indefinitely, even though at any given time his wealth is limited. Could be less than a wealthy man, but he has an unlimited presence. Why do we have that? Because his ability and his wealth is not defined by what he possessed, by what he accumulated. It's not defined by how much money he has. Whatever money he will ever need, he will always have. And when he will need unlimited, because he will need it indefinitely. It could be for end of time, till the end of time. Because kohol AyinBase. An individual, no matter what you say, you're speaking from a finite perspective. So when we say the Inyan, from a Male Kol Almin, Male, he fills all the worlds. So a Male means he fills all the worlds. You're talking about, the Male refers to the finite entities in the world. Pnimi, finite entity. So that's a limited thing. But it's not a limited thing. When we say Male Kol Almin, the minute you say the word Kol, you're actually speaking of an unlimited resource. And this is what we're saying, that this is the source of that is from Oyin Sobshel Ifnei Hatzimtzum. That's what the Rabbi is saying. In Oyer Sebshel Ifnei HaTzimtzum there are two madrigas. There's a madriga that is the source, the mocker of Oyerins of Memale Kolam. That is a madriga which within the Oyer Sebshel Ifnei HaTzimtzum it has already defined a world. Masha also leaves bepei. What is going to be projected. And then there's Madriga, which is completely above that, before the Shir Yasma, before the Aliyah Zerotz, before even the concept of making a world, which is truly without any, it does not have a means by which you define its infinity. You follow?
I'm trying.
You follow what I'm saying? A melech, we say, is infinite. Infinite in what way? He can support his nation indefinitely. You are defining his infinity through finite entities, even though it's going to be indefinite. So it's like you're unlimited, much more than a wealthy man. You're projecting indefinite time. Normal kolam. Then there is a madrega lifnei hatzimtzum that is above aliyah zerotz, where the Ein Sof is not defined by what he can support. And he can support in infinite and infinity. That's called Seva Kolam.
I'm going to drink some coffee, it's gonna go better.
So this is what I just want to hear. Is anybody, are you catching me onto this? You're latching on? Yeah. To say that the Bala Kolam and Seva Kolam are both rooted in Oyin Sobshel Ifnei HaTzimtzum. This is what is important here. Because we're talking Kol Al. Kol means not an existent number, a huge and existent number, Not even a projected number. That's everything. Okay.
Does it mean that when we say Memale Kol Almin, it doesn't define it by what Almin are? The one who is Memale.
It is, because you say this is the oil that was Aliyah's or Rotzen. He already projected that there should be a world.
But we say it's rooted in the order of social Simpson.
That Aliyah's or Rotzen, that there should be a world, is an oil social Simpson. I'm only explaining. Here's what I'm trying to explain. Okay. Why do we correlate the Malikol Almin to Ein Sof Shlifnei Atzimos? What's the point of relating to Ein Sof Shlifnei Atzimos? Lifnei Atzimos has nothing to do with world altogether. Why is it necessary to say that the source, the mokir of Ein Sof, of a Malik Kol Almin, is in Ein Sof Shlifnei Atzimos? What's the significance of that? And not only what's significance, how can you say that? This is Ein Sof Shlifnei Atzimos. This is the real Ein Sof, representing Atzmos itself. So, this is why I'm explaining the term Memale Kol Almin. That alludes to an infinity of the type of Ein Sof Lifnei Atzimos. Just as we said by the Moshe, the king, that the king has everything that is needed to support his nation. And his nation can go on indefinitely.
Unlimited.
Indefinitely. And it can grow indefinitely. Every individual person can have as many unlimited number of children, and they can grow indefinitely. That is a king. That's what it's called. So for that you need something. That's why it throws you right back to the Ein Sof Shlifnei Atzimos. There is everything. Once it's after it's instruments, nimshach in the calf, then you can say you say that it is Ein Sof, it is Malik Kol Almin, because it has that source from Ein Sof Shlifnei Atzimos. Okay. A valiant attempt.
a king, he has everything, because he supports indefinite presence. Right, as you say?
How is it indefinite presence? It's a nation. A nation is definite.
It says that goes indefinitely. It's gonna.
I can go indefinitely.
Right.
It can go on indefinitely. And we say, for all that, the king has the resource to support it.
So we come with a question. So where does such thing comes from? How can you support infinity, like something that goes indefinitely?
Yeah.
So we come. That's what you mean to say. We come with that. We come to the term or socialist nationalism. Because everything that after the symptoms already has some kind of qualifier. Because it comes from what was kind of.
Because it's after the tzimtzum, it's a very nimshach, to hamshach. And once over there, you can only have that accumulative amount. Because it's nimshach, it's through the tzimtzum. If not tzimtzum, it's not a cumulative thing, it's the real thing.
When we say that it's all about Zoynes on that madrego of or in social lifnei tzimtzum, that rotzein.
That rotzen is within the oines of lifnei tzimtzum, and therefore that has the resource for the malikol on indefinite. It says that even though the world, the Gemara says, is to last for 6,000 years, and Sad Chadkru, and then there is a Yovel, and there's many Yovels, it's a whole cheshbon. The truth is, it says that all of these limits are all volitional. The Rebbe Shlomo wanted that would go on indefinitely. And it's all contained in that Shir B'Yatzim L'Koyach. Because it's sourced in the Oines Option of Neantzis.
So the fact that he wants to have something defined does not put definitions on him.
No.
On the Rotzin, that it was desired in that.
So that's why I say called. Because no matter when you say called, if you say define, if you say called, you're talking about something in the infinite. A lot is something else. This is what I say, there's a nuanced expression. A malakol. Memale, a lot of worlds, is something which we can understand. But kol almin is a completely different statement. What?
I got it. I just have some kind of what's it called? I don't know how to call it. Like, I think it's like like a heresy in my mind. Like I think, like we say, why Abishter, like we say we don't ask questions on why did he want to have play, like something like this world. You could understand why, because there is no limits, there is no nothing, there is no definition. So he wanted something that defined. Like it's like a trick, like it's a new feat. Like he didn't do that before. Like it was like, here you go. I don't
Nice
know.
game.
Something like that. I don't know.
I don't think he was Russian.
You're Russian too.
Yeah.
Baruch? No, it's still on. Yeah, it's we can tell that this is Erev Pesach. Erev Pesach. All right. This is the meaning of these words.
Shkoyach.
Okay. As I said, we're going into deep waters, and you thought that this is it. It's not finished yet. Okay. So we'll stop here. Have a good evening.